Fox 44 News brings you a special presentation, Facing Domestic Violence.
Currently, I've had my right eye socket recreated. I've had a nose prosthesis. Gosh, I've had over 30 surgeries.
Knowledge is the key.
Knowledge is power.
Welcome everyone, I'm Adam Hooper.
And I'm MG Montemayor.
Every October we shine a light on domestic violence and the importance of awareness and education. Those are critical components of prevention.
That's right, I sat down with Carolyn Thomas, the woman without a face. Through the years, she has been one of the most outspoken survivors of domestic violence, admitting she made some life-altering mistakes and hoping that we can all learn from them. But before we begin this story, we have to warn you, the images you're about to see are graphic that you may find disturbing. But they are necessary in order for you to understand the ramifications of domestic violence. Here's her story.
Hi, how are you?
This is Carolyn Thomas, known as the woman without a face. She shot to stardom when her story was featured on shows like Larry King and The Oprah Winfrey Show. She's a miracle. She shouldn't be alive after one of the most horrific domestic violence incidents imaginable.
I couldn't believe I was alive. How is somebody alive with your right eye gone, your nose gone, your top lip gone, the whole left side of your face gone?
This is what she's talking about. She lost 80% of her face and so much more. It's been 21 years since that fateful day when her abusive ex-boyfriend, Terrence Kelly, tried to kill her.
Wake up 911.
Oh, Lord, we need police about to shut off.
2003, December the 5th, it started an argument and a tussle that ended up in the closet, which is where I kept the .44 Magnum that he had. He got the gun, he shot my mom in the abdomen area, he drugged me into the living room and shot me in the face at point blank range. Well, next thing I know, when I wake up, I'm in the hospital in Temple, Texas.
Domestic violence touched Carolyn's life early on. She saw her mother battle through an unhealthy relationship with her father.
Screaming and yelling, maybe like pushing or shoving. It turned into a domestic violence relationship, and they ended up divorcing it when I was 5.
Her adolescent years were kinder. Her outgoing spirit led her to become a high school track star, and her friends always knew her to be a cheerful person. That all changed in 1992 when Terrence came into her life. She recalls when her mother and grandmother first met him.
My mom's impression of Terrence was that he was controlling, and my grandmother, she said he was crazy. I kind of thought to myself at 22, like, they don't have a clue of what they're talking about. I absolutely ignored him.
There were signs everywhere. Terrence was constantly in trouble with the law. He sold drugs and was even an alleged suspect in a capital murder case. He was also terribly insecure.
He was just jealous all the way around. Jealous of me talking to his friends, jealous of me talking to my male cousins. He was just jealous, period.
It started with just a slap. Eventually, years of turmoil and violence would follow.
Most of the time, he would apologize after the abuse. Most women of abuse, we already know how that goes, you know. Most of the time, they do it again.
And yet, she wouldn't leave him.
I had grew to love him, and I thought that, you know, I could change him. I learned later on down the road that you can't change anyone but yourself.
She learned that lesson too late. Not only did she lose her face, she lost her mother. Janice Reeves did not survive the gunshot.
Walk me back through all those emotions when you found out that she didn't make it.
Finding out that she didn't make it was like one of the hardest things to hear. Just imagine trying to cry, but you can't because your jaws are wired. When people cry, we open our mouths, we cry out, we yell out, and just imagine not being able to do that and having to do that with your jaws wired. It was awful. Sorry about that.
It's okay.
A key part of her struggle is the guilt.
I dealt with that fact that if I had never said, it's okay to come over to the apartment, that was guilt for years and years and years.
She tells me it took all the strength in the world to grieve her mother, while spending 6 months trying to stay alive and wondering what's next for the woman without a face.
And as for Terrence Kelly, the man who committed this horrific crime, he's a Texas Department of Criminal Justice inmate at the Cofield Unit in Tennessee Colony, serving 2 life sentences for the murder of Janice Reeves and attempted murder of Carolyn Thomas. Despite suffering a near fatal and traumatic incident, she continues to share her story 21 years later.
And today, she remains a fierce domestic violence advocate. And when asked if she would have done anything differently, here's what she told me.
I would say to that young Carolyn that you should have listened. If I had just listened to my mom, to my grandmother, if I had just listened, I wouldn't be here telling this story now.
Carolyn Thomas survived the unimaginable, but deals with deep regret every single day. 21 years after surviving the most horrific domestic violence experience imaginable, she eclipses the regret with steadfast courage. She's now a fierce advocate for women who could be headed down the same path she was on.
I knew I was left to, I'm so sorry, to save lives. And so that's been my mission ever since.
She's learned to channel all that pain and anguish using her deeply personal experience for a greater good.
I lost a whole lot, staying in that relationship. And that's why why I travel, why I try to motivate young women and to get out of there. Because worse off than me, you're gonna be 6 foot under.
She calls her mission Voices for All, the Carolyn Thomas Foundation, a nonprofit she founded in 2006 that supports victims and survivors of domestic violence. She's more than talk. This is her Woman Save Yourself 2024 self-defense class, led by certified martial arts instructor Bruce Wynn, that empowers survivors with physical safety techniques on how they can effectively protect themselves.
Block and grab. You taking that knife, okay?
With this training, Carolyn may have been able to disarm her attacker.
These techniques could be life and death
These
situations.
techniques, definitely, they could be life and death. He did show me a technique where I could have gotten the gun away from my temple.
She tells me it's not only important to be physically prepared, but strategically as well. A hard lesson she learned when trying to leave her ex-boyfriend, Terrence Kelly.
I told him, with the words that are coming out my mouth, I don't want to be in a relationship with you anymore.
So do you think those words were dangerous to say?
Those words were dangerous. There should have been a safety plan set in place for my mother and I, and as well as my family.
Words of wisdom from someone who has learned some tough lessons.
I could do it. I could do it. This is Princess Carly. She's an emotional support dog.
But being physically prepared is only one part of the healing process for Carolyn. Part of her struggle over the years has been with anxiety and depression.
It was a rough road, finding out who I am again. I'll never go back to the Carolyn that I was before I got shot.
Can you imagine going through 30 reconstructive surgeries to create a new face, including skin grafts, a new right eye socket, jawbone, and nose prosthesis? That's what a single bullet from a .44 Magnum will do, but she's finding her way back.
Do you feel beautiful again?
Oh yeah, I feel beautiful again. To be honest, it took me 17 years. I think I'm extraordinary. I'm different.
And you take pride in that.
I take pride in being different.
This magnificent woman, beautiful on the inside and out, her hopes and dreams intact.
I do in the future hope that I do find true love, as somebody that loves me for me.
But right now, she's focused on being there for others the moment they need it, creating Carolyn's House, a refuge for women in danger.
Just in case somebody might need a place to stay for a little while. But yeah, that dream house is decked out. It's gonna look more purpler than Princess Purple Palace.
While none of this will bring her mother back, she finds a way to fight through the loss.
If I could change one thing about the whole thing, I would change losing her. But I wouldn't change what I have went through because it made me the person that I am today.
That person is delivering a powerful truth, a bottom line. If you're in an abusive relationship, you have to come to terms with the reality of your situation before it's too late.
The abuser says to us, I love you, I'm going to change. But they're not. They're not going to change. They're going to hit you again. It may not be tomorrow. It may not be next week. But it's going to happen again and again and again. That's not love at all.
Carolyn Thomas is an extraordinary voice who is saving many lives. If you would like to donate to the Carolyn Thomas Foundation to help aid domestic violence survivors, go to carolyn-thomas.org.
And if you are a victim in need of support or wish to report an incident, call Voices for All at 1-800-799-7233. We now take you back once more to the scene of the crime on December 5th, 2003.
And this time, I sat down with Kermit Graham, the Waco PD officer who found Carolyn laying nearly lifeless on the ground, hanging on for dear life. He tells me about their unbreakable bond and opens up about his own tragic story on domestic violence.
I'm retired military. I spent time in Desert Storm, and that was one of the few times that I'd returned to the States that I realized that war and domestic violence are kind of the same.
This is retired Waco PD officer Kermit Graham. He found Carolyn Thomas that horrible day when she was shot in the face by her ex-boyfriend, Terrence Kelly.
I remember my mom coming out of the room saying something, and pow, he shot her in the stomach. I was taken into the living room and shot in the face at point blank range.
Carolyn's words are one thing, but I have to warn you, what Officer Graham found goes far beyond what words can describe.
It looked like her face had exploded from the inside out and stuff was hanging.
It's a day he'll never forget. He walks me through what he saw that day, describing every detail of the crime scene.
First thing I saw was a blood trail coming down the stairwell. Second thing I saw was Carolyn's mother. When I looked at her, I didn't see where she was going to make it. And the last thing she said was, "Did my daughter get out?"
When Kermit made his way through the door of the apartment Carolyn and her mother shared, he was in disbelief.
Carolyn laying face down on the floor. I could see blood coming from her face.
He thought she was already dead.
All I saw was a portion of her face missing, a wound that I had never seen anyone survive, but she actually raised up. She tried to reach for my leg and I kind of jumped because I was thinking couldn't be alive.
But this is the very moment we discover Carolyn's incredible strength and resilience, fighting through the destructive force of a .44 Magnum at point-blank range.
And there was a coffee table with a vase of flowers on it, and I remember seeing what looked to me to be someone's nostril next to the bedroom that I just searched. It looked like teeth.
More than 2 decades later, Kermit and Carolyn have remained friends. He's in awe of all the advocacy work she's done to prevent others from falling victim to domestic violence.
I think it's outstanding military term.
Like here at the 35th Annual Texas Crime Stoppers Conference in Waco.
Then I had those young ladies that said, you know, just because that happened to you doesn't mean it's going to happen to me. And those are the ladies, those are the group of ladies and young women that we've got to reach out to.
As she continues to share her story, chillingly, their connection goes far deeper than officer and survivor. Graham is dealing with a deep sadness as well.
Is there a special bond there between the two of you?
The special bond is in 2010, my son was killed.
Domestic violence affects both women and men. Ashley Gerard Graham, Kermit's son, was only 28 years old, shot to death at the hands of his ex-girlfriend's new lover. And much like Carolyn, he can't help but look at himself as part of the blame.
I blame myself. As a parent, I felt like I did something wrong.
Why do you think that you blamed yourself?
I didn't want to get involved. Instead of telling him what I thought, I accepted the fact that he was a grown man.
If you had to go back again, would you have spoken up?
Yes, I would have.
And now, just like Carolyn, he does the work of sharing his story in hopes that it'll resonate and reach those who need it most.
The signs are there. It starts out most of the time arguing, then grabbing, then slapping. You have to be willing to accept the help. Humble yourself. Let's go down to the counselor. Let's go down to the shelter and talk to somebody.
Despite years of counseling for both Kermit and Carolyn, the scars of losing their loved ones will never fade. Their hope now is to share their stories, honestly, preventing future tragedies.
Sometimes the choices that we make in life are not the right choices. The best thing we can do is to figure out how to correct it and how we can help others not make the same mistake that we made.
And taking it one day at a time as they cope with their own heartbreak the best way they can.
He's with my father and my grandfather, my grandmothers. He's in good hands. I'll see him again. And we're gonna keep going until that time.
Domestic violence can tear families apart, and we can all do our part to break that cycle.
And part of all of us doing our part is recognizing domestic violence has a ripple effect upon all of us. Here's Vince Erickson.
A big part of National Domestic Violence Awareness Month is awareness of how it tears us apart in ways we may or may not know about. Did you know that while nearly 36% of women have experienced domestic violence, so have many men? From domesticviolenceservicesnetwork.org, 1 in 4 men experience domestic violence, and nearly 1 in 2, just over 48%, experience severe psychological aggression. And these statistics are from reported cases. Many more are not. According to the National Crime Victimization Survey, about half of domestic violence incidents were not reported to authorities in 2019, an alarming increase from 33% of unreported domestic violence incidents in 2010. Unreported or reported, domestic violence costs all of us billions. The CDC reports that domestic violence costs our nation's economy more than $8 billion in annual losses to employers, which include costs for medical and mental care and lost productivity. Factor in unreported cases. Those costs are potentially even greater.
Domestic violence took 80% of Carolyn Thomas's face.
And it took a dream team of highly skilled surgeons to repair the damage caused by one .44 Magnum bullet. We'll introduce you to these medical miracle workers who rebuilt her face. That's when we come back.
You're watching Fox 44 Special, Facing Domestic Violence.
Welcome back. The hole that was left in Carolyn Thomas's face from a gunshot wound would require highly skilled hands to repair.
That's right. Carolyn would later call that team of 6 doctors who rebuilt her face her dream team. This is the dream team, made up of doctors Eugene Alford, Michael Klebuck, Jeffrey Friedman, Charles Soparker, Donald Cohen, and Kathy Fraser. The group put their expertise together in order to reconstruct Carolyn's face.
We start with the team leader, plastic surgeon Dr. Gene Alford. He began his education right down Highway 6 at Texas A&M University, where he earned his undergrad degree, then went down to our neighbors in Austin to earn his medical degree at the University of Texas. Because of his lead role in reconstructing Carolyn's face, Dr. Alfred has appeared as a guest on the Oprah Winfrey Show and Larry King Live.
Another plastic surgeon who helped Dr. Jean with Carolyn's facial reconstruction is Dr. Klebuck. He earned his medical degree from the University of Saskatchewan in Canada and trained in plastic surgery at Baylor College of Medicine in Houston. He is now the director of the Center for Facial Paralysis Surgery and Functional Restoration at Methodist Hospital in Houston.
Carolyn's facial surgery would require the expertise of a total of 3 plastic surgeons. The third on Dr. Jean's team was Dr. Jeffrey Friedman. He earned his degree in Houston at the Baylor College of Medicine. Dr. Friedman also serves in many academic positions at Weill Cornell Medical College, Baylor College of Medicine, University of North Texas, and Texas A&M College of Medicine in order to educate prospective surgeons.
Dr. Charles Soparker was the man behind the eye. Dr. Soparker worked on reconstructing the area around Carolyn's eye that was destroyed by the gunshot wound. He has his PhD in molecular biochemistry from the University of Massachusetts. He now focuses on identifying and merging cosmetic, aesthetic, and functional solutions for all of his patients.
And Dr. Don Cohen specializes in a full scope of oral and maxillofacial surgery procedures, including facial trauma, jaw reconstruction, bone grafts, and implant dentistry. He helped rebuild Carolyn's jaw and mouth. He now commits his time outside of being an oral surgeon to support other victims of abuse through nonprofit organizations.
Finally, Dr. Kathy Fraser was brought in to complete the Dream Team to finish up Carolyn's dental treatment after years' worth of surgeries. Dr. Fraser owns her own practice in Houston and also gives smile makeovers for battered women in the Smiles for Life program.
Coming up, we speak with the Family Abuse Center locally. They say it can be hard to escape abuse, but it's possible, and they're here to help.
You're watching Fox 44 Special, Facing Domestic Violence.
Before we go, if you feel like you are in a domestic violence situation, there are resources available to you. One of those resources is the Family Abuse Center.
I spoke with the executive director, Whitney Thomas, who says it's possible to escape.
It's possible, and we are here. Like, that's what we have a staff of 35 people, and that's what we do. That is our job, to serve victims of domestic violence, to help them get out of those situations, connect them with those resources, provide them the education. We have counseling, we have children's programs, we have housing programs, we have case management services, we have so many resources we can connect people with. I mean, we have a shelter, we have a 30-day shelter that really helps people get on their feet and sort of process what that looks like. And we walk alongside you. It is scary and it is not easy, but we're here for you to be safe.
And here's their information.
It's FamilyAbuseCenter.org, or you can call them at 1-800-283-8401. The Family Abuse Center is just one of many places where people in need can go for help. No matter who you reach out to, the important thing is that you reach out before it's too late.
That's right. And on behalf of everyone at Fox 44, we'd like to thank you for watching this special Facing Domestic Violence.